August 11, 2025. The Sea of Galilee turns red. Headlines all over the internet. Locals panic as Sea of Galilee turns blood red in biblical scenes. More changes in animals. And unusual weather patterns being seen more and more every single day. And every time they're on the headlines, it never fails to spark fears. Thus, the book of Revelation really mentions plagues. And the bigger question is, who will experience this? And if it's true, why would a loving God pour out plagues into the world? According to Israel 365 News, the Sea of Galilee that turned to blood red, Israel's water authority clarified that this striking hue linked to a known form of algae, the responsible organism Botryococcus bryoni, typically presents green. Still, when exposed to intense sunlight over time, it generates a red pigment that tints the water. So this is a natural occurrence. But the scenery still brings an intense eerie feeling and fear to those who read and see all over the world.
Hello people, look, I'm in the Galilee Sea. Look, the water is red like blood. Look at the water. This is a very, very bad omen. Look at the water. This is a very, very bad omen.
As the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea are prophetic bodies of water in the Bible, while the explanation is firmly scientific, the vivid red waters stirred powerful spiritual associations for many. The sight evoked the first plague in Exodus when the Nile was turned to blood. Exodus 7 verse 9 to 20, and the waters that were in the river were turned to blood. And it never fails to place fear to everyone. Supernaturally happened in the past in Exodus, but will it really happen again in the future? Revelation 16 verse 4. The third angel poured out his bowl into the rivers and the springs of waters, and they became blood. And we will look to other similar strange phenomenons, such as hailstorms and animal pestilence. And this prophecy also happened in a similar type of glimpse. Let's read this prophecy from the sky. Huge hailstones, each weighing about 100 pounds, fell on people, and they cursed God on account of the plague of hail, because the plague was so terrible. This video was posted a week ago from Instagram. Basketball-sized ice blocks have been hailing down on citizens in Cheyenne, Wyoming. The hailstorm has been generating millions of dollars damages in property damage and minor injuries. As you can see, some of these hailstorms are massive. This is absolutely crazy. Just imagine what 100 pounds hailstorms would be like. The wrath of God when it comes upon the earth will be unlike anything that has ever been witnessed. 3 days ago, in connection to animals, unusual weather patterns, and pestilence, Colorado cat tests positive for the plague just weeks after Arizona resident passes of troubling disease. Dead Colorado cat tests positive for the plague just weeks after the resident dies of troubling disease, August 7, 2025. Plague warning. Bubonic plague is an infectious disease which was once referred to as the Black Death. Prairie dogs and other wild rodents in this area may be infected with plague. Plague may be transmitted to humans through contact with infected animals or their fleas. The Sea of Galilee connects to the Dead Sea in a pretty amazing way. The Sea of Galilee is fed with freshwater snow melt from Mount Hermon and Mount Lebanon. The Jordan River flows out to the south end of the Sea of Galilee into the Dead Sea. This is leading to the fulfillment of another prophecy from the book of Ezekiel, where the Dead Sea comes back to life.
We are standing in the Dead Sea right now, but the really cool part about where I'm standing is that as I pan here, you're gonna see I'm standing actually in fresh water that's flowing down out of the Judean mountains into the Dead Sea. So we're literally standing in prophecy being fulfilled. You can read in the caption the references from Zechariah and Ezekiel that prophesied about this, and we're literally standing in it here right now.
The 7 last plagues are identified as the last because in them God's wrath is completed. Revelation 14 verse 9 to 10. Saying shows that the plagues are the manifestation of the fullness of God's wrath to those who receive the mark of the beast and its image and receive the mark on the forehead or on the right hand, have to drink the wine of the wrath of God, which is mixed with full strength in the cup of his anger. Revelation 14 verse 10. Up until now, God's wrath has been mixed with mercy. We always designed to bring sinners to repentance. But at this time, when this time comes, repentance will be too late. Why? Because the time has come for all who have spurned God's grace to experience the fullness of divine wrath. In the Bible, divine wrath is defined as God's reaction to the choices people make when people turn away from God. God gives them over to their choice. It says in Romans 1 verse 26 to 28, yet He never gives up on them. His grace is at work to win them back to Him. The Bible is replete with such cases, but the 7 last plagues are pictured as an expression of God's wrath in its undiluted fullness. They are not intended to bring anyone to repentance because the opportunity for repentance had passed. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture. What does this mean? That poured out without mixture, drinking from the Lord's cup in the Old Testament, is a frequent symbol of God's wrath. Isaiah 51 verse 1 and 17 to 23. In ancient times, wine increases its intoxicating strength. The mixed undiluted wine represents God's wrath being executed without His mercy. This is the 7 plagues of Revelation. Just as the Israelites were on earth when the plagues fall, so will God's end-time church will be on earth, and God's people will witness the 7 last plagues. But those who will receive the seal of God, the seal of the Father, will be protected. Moses turned water into blood and struck the land of Egypt with all kinds of plagues. So it will be experienced by those who will receive the mark of the beast. Just as Moses is asking its human leader Pharaoh to let God's people free to come out of Egypt, so as the 3 angels' message. Revelation 18 verse 4, come out of her, my people. What we need to do is to set thine house in order now, because when Jesus returns, probation closes. But would you like to be protected by the blood of Christ? Kindly type our reply today. The blood of Christ protects us. Thank you, dear friends. Kindly share and continue to preach truth found in Bible prophecy.